are good. Hey everybody, welcome to another session of Bloodborne. Still got Max here.
Hey, how's it going?
We are on now part 2 of our 3-part long section. The last video we had just taken care of the Gatling gun hunter, who he has a name, I forget it. And in the time in between recordings, I had picked up the Kirkhammer, which is a healing church weapon. Its normal attack is a sword, like that. I think you can get about 5-6 swings off it. About the same as your saw blade. Its charge attack is a nice piercing attack like that. And really, what I use it primarily for is its tricked form. It is a very potent hammer. Which you may be thinking it might be slow as hell, and it can catch on enemies off guard.
It's actually a really quick attack right there. Like it was already up in the air in a way, and it was already just.
Yeah, against guys like this though, look at how well that's done.
That's great.
So we're definitely going to need that in some of the upcoming areas. But for most of the time, I just use the untricked saw blade. And yeah, now we get a chance to see what the hell this guy is all about. By the end of this video, we are going to have more bloodstones than we are ever going to know what to do with.
Yeah.
I mean, by now I've upgraded. I think I have about 20 just in reserve alone for new weapons. Most of my stuff is on the twin one now.
Yeah.
But in any case, we take a look in here. And this is like well, I don't want to call it like an abandoned chapel.
It just feels like that.
Primarily a lot of hooded figures.
Yeah.
We won't show it in this video, it'll be in the next one, but there is definitely a quick way to take care of most of the enemies in this, which I did not realize until long after this.
Oh man.
So I put in a little note here. I tried to find something, beware of overhead.
Yeah.
Didn't really find that. I think I just put it ambush. Put a lot of things here.
Yeah, really gotta know what to choose to put in here. It's a lot.
Oh, there was a high spot.
Oh, there we go.
So if you see that note, be sure to rate it fine. I think more than anything, the sound those things make.
That's switch.
Because most of the time they're off hidden, and they'll make that sound long before they attack you.
Yeah.
And that sound, holy shit! Like the audio design in this game is great. It's like. The crows, who are like probably the weaker enemies in this game, have scared the shit out of me on more than one occasion.
Their sort of gargled, rough caw. It's like very guttural and rotten sounding.
Then you miss them so many times.
Yes, you do.
So yeah, the hammer is really great against the big versions of those. Because you can stun the crap out of them.
Yeah. I really can't imagine the audio design team these games.
The only complaint I think I'd make about any of these is the sound scaling is a little tough. Like, for example, it sounds way more often than not that, it sounds like something's right next to you, but it's really far away.
Oh, yeah. It's sort of like you're within the vicinity of it, so here's the sound, not you're within a particular vicinity. Yes.
Exactly. So, it kind of gives you a little bird's eye view of what we got going on here. I think that's so there is an item hidden under there, and I don't think I can go for it right away with good cause, because if I hop down there right now, I can pick up the item, but the only way to proceed is to jump in the middle of all of them. And by now, I've already aggroed most of them. So they are actually on their way up the stairs right now. Kind of tried fucking around with the camera angle to get a good view of all of them. And I tried to see if I could take a couple of them to like fight in this hallway. But I actually do pretty good in close range. So I'm just gonna say fuck it.
At least with that saw blade.
Exactly.
Succession of strikes.
Because like the saw blade in a hall like this can wipe everything.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of wall clipping.
To your advantage.
I have used it to my advantage twice already. See, that blade is really fast and it also has a pretty good arc.
Yeah.
The saw blade does a little more damage though.
Is that because of the stuff you have set in, or?
Yeah, I think by this point I haven't upgraded the Kirkhammer all the way. I know I showed it early in the video. I guess you can check and see if we're liars or not. But I mean, just in general, you could get one more attack the way my stamina is set up now.
Oh, yeah.
I think I can get 5 hits with the untricked saw blade and 6 hits with the untricked Kirkhammer. The only difference and the only problem with that is the saw blade. The saw blade always goes in the same diagonal pattern, while the Kirkhammer kind of. Some of them are vertical slashes and horizontal.
Right. You're covering your bases.
So it's easy to miss for one, swing of the sword to miss one and let them get an extra attack in on you. But you're still getting one more extra attack. Or looking at it another way, you can get 5 slashes with the Kirkhammer and still have enough to dodge.
Yeah.
And, oh god, that always fucks that always fucks with me.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're still alive.
Look, I might have killed 10 of them, I know they're dead, I know they're not coming back, but I'm still scared.
Yeah, because really, I mean, this game makes enemy approach relatively quiet if you're not listening to footsteps, or if they have no footstep sounds. It's kind of like, no, there's nothing, there's no rise and fall and like some sort of audio cue. It's straight up just like, no, here it is.
It seems also possible for a lot of them to gang up on you.
Yeah.
That's the things like that are the reason why I love the saw blade. Because if a one decides to add themselves to the fight, you can normally hit them with a stun attack. So you might notice all the tar and oil covering that area.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind for next video. Which, by the way, for people who are watching this, I kind of changed formats a little bit. I think I mentioned this briefly in the last video. But I used to just kind of release these videos in session-long recordings. So, you know, I'd record for an hour, release it in that lump one. We're going to be splitting them up into 15, 20-minute videos. So if I'm correct, this should be like video 7. Even though it's technically still the 6th recording session. I don't know. Someone decide how I'm handling that. But this way we can just release more videos, and I mean these are I've kind of changed from recording everything at the same time we're playing to this is all done in post. Yeah. So I think it's just better for everyone. A little more work, but because it's taken a little more work, kind of want to stretch out that release schedule. So I was convinced there was another one hiding here. But we get Ritual Blood, which...
You haven't done any of the...
Not yet.
I've done a couple, or at least I've gone... Yeah, I've beaten one. one of the Chalice dungeons. I'm sorry. They're fun. I would recommend that you and I.
How early should you start one?
You can do it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a few more levels. I don't know what level you're at now. But
I'm pretty high from the end of Bloodborne Beast, or Bloodsucking Beast.
Yeah, you could probably do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, the ritual blood that we got right there, you might remember from my first video when we looked at all the gravestones in the Hunter's Dream. There's a couple of them that mention a dungeon. Well, you get chalices from bosses, and you make an offering, and it lets you go into a dungeon. So we're gonna get a chalice at the end of this video. You can put blood in it and do a chalice dungeon. Which is it put in blood, you get one shot to complete it, or is it you put in the blood and
no, you put it in, and then you can go and win it back, go and forth back how many times ever you want. Wow, I'm sorry, that was a terrible sentence. You can go into that dungeon as many times as you want. You can exit, you can die, you can come back after dying.
Is it you put more blood in there to make it harder, or
I
respawn enemies?
don't know about that. The enemies respawn regardless.
I mean bosses and.
Yeah, well, bosses that you kill, they're gone, but regular enemies are still there. They still respawn. It's basically like a 4x4 thing, so you have to kill a bunch of enemies. It is as randomized dungeon as you can get.
Okay.
It's cool. I like it a lot. I think it's a great way for like, hey, if you're stuck at a part of the game, it's kind of like you can get items in there too. You know, and you can play something different to do that, and you can do it with friends. Alright, let's go through this dungeon.
I know I might have talked about this a little bit in one of my last videos, but I'm finding more and more this game kind of feels more like a bona fide sequel to Demon Souls more than either of the Dark Souls games.
I mean, you have your hub world, and then you can go to areas that you've been to. Even though everything is actually connected, it's a way better. I would agree. It feels in some ways more like Demon Souls, if only for that. Any other reasons why?
Yeah, it's like it has it kind of combines the best of them. Because I love the hub world in Demon Souls. I think that really lent itself to good storytelling. I think that
they helped vary the environments a little bit.
The fact that you had to still keep going back to the Nexus kind of made you remember what you're doing all this for.
Yeah.
And there really was never that hub world in Dark Souls. I think the Fire Citadel, if I'm remembering. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's been a while since I've played it.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, there's a bonfire you get to at the beginning, but I mean, it kind of is just one area. I
remember there being like kind of a hub area called the Fire something.
There's an area at the beginning after you get out of the Undead Asylum that also serves as the point for the end of the game.
Yeah.
But there really isn't a hub.
That's like the closest thing to a hub that game has. It's really way more explore this area.
Yeah. There's really no sort of zone. Just like, here's a trick you can go to.
And I've heard the best comparison I've heard was my friend Slowbeef said it reminded him of early Zelda in that regard. Of you're dropped into this world, go exploring.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much.
And I like that Demon and Dark Souls both did what they wanted to do really well. I think it worked for both cases. I think Demon Souls had a nice hub world, and the fact that you had to keep going there to level up, to do anything.
It was like that moment of respite before you went back in.
Exactly. The feel of home in general is something I really harp on in games.
Yeah, and that felt like a little bit of a home.
It felt like a home. It felt like I'm doing this to restore the Nexus to do something.
Yeah.
They didn't really have that in Dark Souls, but what they had in Dark Souls was still pretty good. Dark Souls 2 kind of tried to play both.
It did. Like, it made Majula that hub world, but like.
Did you feel justified?
I guess no, I don't think so. Like I felt like it was
there.
It was there to just be there and not like for the sake of like this. The whole story has. I mean, Manjula's existence was there for you to just be there to sort of like, all right, this is connecting these different areas.
If it had been any other town, it wouldn't have made a difference.
It wouldn't have made a difference, yeah.
If the Nexus was another area, it would have made a ton of difference.
Exactly, but the Nexus has actual narrative significance, while Manjula really does not.
And with Dark Souls 2, they tried to make it that by having you go back and talk to the Maiden in Emerald.
Or the Emerald Herald, or I forgot her name. Yeah.
I always called her the Maiden, because she was basically the
yeah.
Maiden in Black of that game.
Yeah, she was, yeah.